And welcome back to more Atari with Aqualung, and Aqualung's here,
I am.
and we're playing Frogger. And let's see, I think it's the no, that's not it. Here we go. Yeah. So Frogger, any thoughts on Frogger before we start?
Well, Frogger was, I mean, it's a classic, as we all know. Like a lot of games that were ported to Atari, this was like my introduction to Frogger was via the 2600 version. I was just gonna, I was curious, I was waiting there to see if you went through the wall or not, because there
Oh
are different
God.
variations that, if you have if you have it on difficulty A, I think, you will crash into the wall, whereas opposed to going through it. So I mean, it was like, but Frogger on 2600 is, yeah, like all ports, it's not the arcade version, but it's really fun too. And I don't know. Whenever I think of Frogger, I mean, I don't think of the Seinfeld episode like a lot of people do. I think of this particular version. Um, it it's the like the nostalgia of it is this particular version, and it's even though it's a simplistic
Oh
version
God.
of the classic, it's still just as mechanically sound.
Yeah, definitely. This is.
It just looks visually a little more stripped down.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like this is like a really fun game. Like, it's the simplicity of it all really does
Keep it
work.
simple, stupid.
Yeah. Oh God, that's the gator
gotta-
there right now. Yeah.
No, that's a fly. You can.
I mean the in the alcove, or
Yeah, yeah.
is it a
You
fly?
could have. Yeah,
The
that one
fly
is
is
a
the white.
fly.
Isn't the fly the white guy there? I'm talking about what was in the alcove.
Oh, yeah, no, the one in so the one in the log. Yeah, I think that's another frog. I think you ran out of time there.
Yeah,
Um,
I was on the log for too long.
the white uh one on the log. I think that was another frog. Like that's like a I don't know if it's a female frog or something. And
But
you get it and you're good. You get the points. I think that the item that was popping up in the alcove was a fly. You can grab that. The gators don't pop up until the next level or two.
okay, all right. Because that's why I wasn't jumping in there. So
I thought you were just apprehensive about the timing of it because it was on the far end, which is a lot more difficult when you can't go through the walls because you have to.
so
When
that's
it's-
a so that. Well, okay, yeah, it does look like a fly. By the way, that was a terrible run, so I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
I killed myself. I wasted all my lives almost immediately. So yeah.
Yeah, once you lose enough lives early on, then you just start fucking around because like you're down to one life, and it's like if I start doing well now, it's gonna suck when I die, and with only one life.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, like a game that was like like the unofficial Atari game where you get run down by cars, but that wasn't this. It was
Freeway.
Freeway. Yeah. So I was just thinking about that. Okay, so
Yeah, that's what answered the age-old question: why did the chicken cross the road?
yeah.
And then there was the bloody human freeway was the prototype of it.
Yeah, I saw you play that on. Was it a Wild Card Wednesday?
I think it was.
Yeah.
All right.
So who was
Clears
the
first wave.
so Parker Brothers produced this version, but who was the original company that made? Oh, damn it! Because it was a Japanese company, wasn't it?
That made
That made the original.
the original. Yeah, and I think there was another version on Atari too.
Oh, what happened there?
I think there was the Parker Brothers version. This is the one that I played, and for the most, and I think that it's like the more popular 2600 version. Yeah, it was not. It definitely wasn't Parker Brothers that developed the original.
Remember, like, is it? Oh no 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 no
I'm
no.
looking up. Oh, it was Konami.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was Konami, but I wasn't fully sure because Konami's not really like the first company that I think of when I think of like arcade companies. Although to be fair, Konami did have a good bunch of like popular arcades. But
Yeah,
but those
you
involved.
always,
But those involved.
you always tend to think of like the action games, you know, like the running guns and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But this was like an early hit from them. Yeah, like a
Yeah.
really really early. Oh god. Yeah.
It's yeah. In fact, I didn't even really think about the fact they were making games back then.
Yeah, yeah. So, but like I said, really early hit. Like maybe even the first. I don't recall that there's another big game by them from this particular.
Probably no, I don't think so.
Oh no. Because DigDug was then was that Namco or
I want to say that it was. That sounds like.
that's the thing I was about to say that Konami did end up having some really popular arcades later on, but those involved some turtles, and not frogs.
There's we got reptiles, amphibians. What's the difference?
Yeah. Well, the difference is waterproof skin and a full set of lungs. That's a funny question to ask of a biology teacher. Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh no. I saw the blue lily pad.
Yeah, you can't ask a sarcastic question and get a sarcastic answer.
Ask a smart ass question, get a smart ass answer. Hey, but I think I'm done with Frogger for. I mean, it's a fun game. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think I've seen the full screen. It does like it. I'm a bit surprised by how intense the cars moving around. But I think we can do actually another. Actually, you want to do DigDug next?
Yeah, why not? We brought it up, might as well.
Yeah. And here we go. It's time for DigDug. And there was you missed the little opening animation there, but nice opening screen again. All right.
Yeah, for the 2600 standards, that was really good. Well done.
Yeah.
And yes, it is Namco that developed the original DigDug.
Yeah, those were the rocks. All right. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, the motions are a little bit weird on this one. Okay, but I pumped them. I pumped them full of air.
You pumped them full of
not lead this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a. Oh god, he's coming through the walls.
Pumped his guts full of air. Yeah.
This is kind of a weird, but also kind of a fun concept. Just to like, you could also almost say like an early horror game, especially when they're coming through the walls like that.
Yeah, like I wonder, like you would think that the original idea would have been something like, oh, you dig under and you just you can you shoot enemies and while you're under here, like that would have been what you would expect, not blow them up literally. Oof.
Yeah, I got it cornered there. That was bad. It
happens. It's what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Oh god, and I crushed myself to death. This is a really good port, I have to say. Like, it's a relatively later game because 83. This was right around the time of the video game crash, the industry crash. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, but there was also a ton of games that came out, and that was one of the reasons for the crash, was just the oversaturation.
Yeah.
But 83 was, 80. You see a lot more Atari games, 2600 games in the early 80s than anything. When it first came out in 77, it was just getting on its feet, and then Space Invaders, Pac-Man, that boom really shook things up, and you've got a shit ton of games in the early 80s. And then it actually, it's the 2600 survived for another 7 or 8 years, but it was just that the releases were way more sporadic. There wasn't really a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would say something like about 60% of all the games released were between 80 and 83.
Yeah, probably. Oh god, that was poorly timed from me. But it's still kind of like impressive. I mean, it is kind of like when you stop to think about it that, it's a popular, enough of a console because what is it, like 40 million, 2600s that were sold during its lifetime. So, there was definitely like an audience, like even like late in the 80s, like if you put out a game for the system, like definitely it would make some money. So there was definitely...
Yeah, because this was before my time, 83, that's the year I was born. So when I started, when I was gifted a 2600 for my birthday, it was, I was 5. This was when the NES and Sega Master System, those were the consoles at the time, but it was more affordable. I remember going into Toys R Us and you would still have 2600 games in the late 80s. That were like very much featured, like you wouldn't have to go to a used game store or anything like that to get these games.
Yeah, exactly.
They were last gen, but they were still very much the gen. And Atari had tried to, they tried the 5200 to compete with ColecoVision, and they tried the 7800 to compete with like the NES, and those two failed, but the 2600 continued to live on just because, games were more affordable and they were still simple and fun. Didn't have all the problems that the other systems did.
Yeah, and also it's kind of like wild. Also, in a somewhat similar vein. Oh god! The fire came through the ground. Okay, hey, now, here we get to see the intro that the audience didn't get to see. But it's kind of wild to also think about like that there were like Commodore 64 games as well into the 90s, when that's a computer system that came out like in 82.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit, it's a kind of similar situation, I guess, with
it's something about these like late 70s, early 80s software or hardware that just maintained. It's had it's not a timelessness to them, but they definitely had longevity.
Or basically just the fact that there were, because the user base for those systems was just so huge that it was still like worth getting. But it's like, oh god. So there was like it was still worth the investment, if you will. Yeah. I keep thinking like I can't pump these guys if they're like floating through, but now I realize like actually you can. So yeah.
I mean, I think what it boils down to more than anything is just functionality. Like the 5200, for example, had that massive controller that just made games difficult to play. It wasn't fun. But something like this, just a simple joystick and a button. You can pick it up, you can figure it out. Games were simple, bam. It's just think about how many stupid app games, free apps that you just are very basic games, but you just download and play because you can. So I think that a lot of the simplicity of the 2600 helped keep it afloat. And the functionality still being intact and functional. Yeah.
So wait a minute. I'm trying to remember. Is the guy's name Doug, or is it like?
It should be.
Yeah, because I remember there was this trend for there's like I want to say something like the 2007-ish. In YouTube, there was this trend of turning like old video games into like movie trailers, and I remember one for DigDug, which had the line of the guy saying like, "What am I supposed to do? Dig, Doug." And then they had like I think they even had the line, "They're coming through the walls," or something like that.
And if there was in the 2-player mode, the other guy should be Dick.
Dick and Doug. Doug and
Dick and Doug. Dick and Doug.
Yeah. I'm starting to notice like the enemies aren't like putting up really much of a fight in this version right now, but okay.
Those dragons.
Yeah, the dragon got me because I kind of like misunderestimated the effect of the fire breath there.
Yeah, dragons have been the death of you today.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're recording these episodes back to back with the adventure and the and the no escape. Yeah. Oh Jesus. Okay. Nope. No. Okay. Here we go. So those guys are dragons. What are the two legged mushroomoid things supposed to be? They're kind of like Goombas in a weird way, but
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what it looked like to me, and they certainly behave that way.
I'm trying to remember what they
also look kind of like Hubert.
Oh yeah, but I'm trying to remember what they looked like in the original arcade. And now that I'm thinking about it, like they aren't just like god, they are just like guys that are they're just like these orbital guys, orb-shaped guys with like little feet.
Yeah, they had like I don't know, like I'm weirdly like it looked kind of like a Sniffit to me.
Yeah,
like the way that it had the like the mask looking.
Yeah, because
the trim around the eyes.
Yeah, I do recall that they do have like masks or like sort of eye protection or something.
Okay, so it was by design. I mean, it looks like that's what it should be, but I don't know if that was just like.
I'm trying to remember like
playing tricks with my brain.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall what the original arcade looks like, and like. I mean, Doug looks, or whatever his name is. Like, Doug looks like the protagonist. The only thing is like his color. He has this like purple sheen. The original Doug is like white.
Yeah. And it's the same color as his gun, which is.
Oh God. For
some reason I thought you were gonna survive that.
Yeah, I'm just going off the fact that like these guys, the names of these. Oh God, usually the names are somehow related to the characters. Like Bubble. The main characters are called Bub and Bob. And actually, yeah, when we did another previous Atari with Aqualung episode, we did Congo Bongo, which was Sega's Donkey Kong clone. I did discover that it's the monkey is called Congo, I think. No, Bongo. Well, one or the other. It's one of the two words in the name is the monkey's name. But actually, completely kind of what slipped my mind is that's probably only for the Western version because the original Japanese title of the game is actually Tip Top, but they changed it for the Western release then.
Huh.
Yeah. Probably because Tip Top doesn't really mean anything. I guess it's just. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, look at how many games are released with titles that don't mean anything in any language.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like why would we get hung up on that?
Well, I guess just because Congo Bongo sounds like more jungle oriented. Oh God.
Yeah, it's just like okay, I guess that would sound better. Like how Biohazard wasn't. I think that was a copyright issue in overseas. They couldn't use it, so they just came up with Resident Evil to be the North American.
Yeah, the North American title for that. Yeah, I was just at. Man, they're not fucking around. They just immediately gunning for me now.
But in the case of Congo Bongo, it was just like, oh, I like the sound of it more.
Which, yeah, well, to be fair, like that sometimes is, sometimes the name changes are like just that simple that somebody, some executive at the company doesn't like the sound of the name or something like that, because that's actually something that I found out about the Street Fighter 2 as well. Is that I mean, obviously there was the whole thing with Balrog being pretty obviously a take on Mike Tyson, so that they changed the name from Mike Bison to
Mike Bison. Yeah.
They just wrote the names of the enemies around, but apparently, like the Capcom's US division also didn't like the fact that the final guy was just called Vega, because it didn't. To them, they didn't make any sense because it's the name is like astrological. It's the name of a star, and that's not like a cultural thing in Japan. Like when they want to make somebody sound like big and important, they give them the name of like a astral body or something. But it doesn't really. But it sounds. But the American division, it just sounded really weird. So they were going to change. They were probably going to change the last guy's name anyway. And because they were having to change the name of the boxer guy anyway, they decided like, oh, okay, we'll just, we'll give him this name. So, it'll stay in the rotation. And just left with a big gaping question of like, okay, but what does the M stand for then in M. Bison? Ouch.
Yeah. I was kind of wondering about like why. I get why they couldn't stick with Mike Bison, but like why, Balrog couldn't just become M. Bison.
Well, it probably then because
Just get rid of the Mike.
What we call Vega, was called Balrog originally. So that's the other thing. Like, yeah. Which it's kind of the meaning's a little bit lost there. Oh God, because now you just randomly have this boxer who's named after a character from a Tolkien book. Oh God. And originally, what I've heard the explanation for, like, why is the character that we know Vega, why was he called that originally? Because and apparently it's really stupid, the reason. But the official explanation that I've heard is that the Balrog is this horrific monster, and the character that whom we know Vega but was known as Balrog, supposed to be like this pretty boy, so he's like very handsome, but he's like a homicidal psychopath basically. So the idea is that he's that inside he's monstrous, and that's what the name reflects. I forget this thing about the DigDug that the final monster always tries to run away.
They fuck off once, but you get more points for killing them on their way out.
Well,
so
okay, yeah.
Show no mercy, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're trying to teach everybody, I guess.
Still the 2 dragons, and now that one's gonna try to escape. I'm doing pretty well, considering like I haven't had any extra lives in a while.
Yeah, we're up to 18,000 here.
Yeah. We haven't been keeping track of the scores, but
I have not been thinking about it at all until just now.
Yeah, but we had a kind of a funny during that first set of Atari with Aqualung episodes. We had a kind of funny conversation about the points economy of Atari games and how it's like. This is a bit closer to what I kind of like expect from games that have scores. And I kind of had that. Oh, I got an extra life from somewhere actually.
Maybe because you hit 20,000.
Ah, yeah, probably, yeah. But this is a bit closer. But I just saw recently another video that just made me question, like what does the point? What do the points in like?
What's the point of the points?
What's the point of the points, and what is the the value that they're supposed to represent? Because I saw this video about the. It was telling like how. Like pre-computer era pinball machines, like how they worked and how they keep score. And it's like how how the points values in like pinball, when you stop to think about them, they don't really make a lot of sense either. Oh, they're both they're both fucking off. That's rare because up to this point, like it's as long as there've been like 2 guys on screen, they still tried to attack you.
Yeah. Well, these never-ending arcade games, there's definitely a point to the points because they often lead to rewards, like extra lives and such. Is the case with this one?
Yeah, and
but like a game like Mega Man, like the original Mega Man that had a point system, it's like, okay, why do you?
Yeah,
have
exactly.
This? Like, there's a goal for this game. It's why have the points?
Yeah,
they shed that.
It's more or less like a legacy feature that all the other games from around that time still had scores, so we had to have a score as well, even though it doesn't do anything.
Right. Yeah,
Wow,
and same even with Super Mario Brothers, for example, too. It's like, the coins are what grant you your lives. The points, it's it's.
The points are pointless.
What it is.
Yeah.
Points are pointless. It's I guess it's nice to get the extra points, like when you get to the end and you get more fireworks.
Yeah,
exactly. Time bonus. It's like it's something more satisfying about hitting the top of the flag and getting more points from it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, but I think that's enough Atari for today. Thanks for watching. and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.
See you on the next one.